Have you ever felt as though your mind is working against you? Like a never-seeming switch-off anxiety machine or a constant inner critic? Though many of us struggle with bad ideas and feelings, what if there was a way to not only control them, but also drastically change your connection with your own mind? In today's video, we will investigate the great and pragmatic knowledge of Buddhism to learn effective methods for managing our negative thoughts and developing a more pleasant and tranquil inner existence. Buddhist teachings provide a thorough and slow road to mastery over your mind, not via strong repression, but rather via insight, awareness, and deft reorientation. We will explore the nature of negative ideas and their effects on our well-being as well as their causes. More importantly, we'll break out a set of doable actions based on Buddhist ideas you may begin using now to take control over your mental terrain. From the fundamental basis of mindfulness to particular strategies for changing bad patterns, confronting mistaken thinking, and developing positive emotions like loving kindness and compassion, we will provide you the means to negotiate your inner reality with more knowledge and simplicity. Stay tuned then, if you're ready to start a path to take charge of your negative thoughts and release a more happy and fulfilled existence. Together, let us investigate the potency of Buddhist knowledge. Section 1. Clarifying the character of the mind and negative thoughts. From a Buddhist standpoint, first we must grasp the natural inclinations of the human mind if we are to properly regulate our negative ideas. The beliefs hold that our minds naturally wander, and sadly, they typically follow negative emotions and harmful ideas. As one of our sources unequivocally says, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts, negative ideas, negative thoughts like anger, desire, or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are typical of the untrained intellect rather than necessarily markers of a defective character. Moreover, our brains are quite skilled in generating fictitious and sometimes upsetting situations, especially those related to worry and anxiety. As another source defines them, these what-if situations entail picturing all the worst-case possibilities. What if that happened to me? What if everything went wrong? What if they're cheating me? This inclination toward catastrophizing can cause great misery since we treat the emotional agony of these imagined tragedies as though they were actual. Learning to control these negative stories is rather important since our minds are quite good in creating them. Essential to Buddhist philosophy is the knowledge that our ideas profoundly affect our reality. Our experiences and general state of being are shaped by our perspective, interpretations we develop, and the ideas we regularly consider. According to one source, our thoughts shape our reality. The way we perceive the world determines how we experience it. This knowledge emphasizes our mental power and our possibility for good change by deliberate effort. Remember also that we are not inherently defined by our negative ideas and emotions as Buddhist teachings stress. Though they might develop, they are fleeting mental states rather than fixed features of our identity. This knowledge inspires optimism and enables us to act toward transformation. Section 2. Developing Awareness. Mindfulness, Sati. Foundation Principle. Before we explore certain strategies for managing negative thoughts, there is one fundamental element underlying all successful approaches: awareness, sometimes referred to as mindfulness or sati in Buddhist traditions. As one of our sources unequivocally states, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you are thinking, if you are not mindful about what you are thinking, then you cannot control it. Fundamentally, mindfulness, sati, is the practice of bringing your mind to the present moment with non-judging awareness. It's about being present, that is, attentive to what is happening right now, internally, your thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and outside, that is, in your surroundings, without becoming caught in assessments or responses. In the framework of negative ideas, mindfulness helps us note when these ideas surface without immediately being caught in their content. According to still another source, in Buddhist practice we call mindfulness as sati. Sati is the bringing your mind to this present state and understanding the reality as it is. The first step towards under control our mental states is our capacity to see them objectistically. Without this awareness, negative thought patterns can easily sweep us away. cause us to react automatically and prolong cycles of negativity. How could awareness enable us to have a good attitude? The space it generates holds the solution. We get the ability to modify our thinking patterns when we start to see them. Most of our pain results from our brains caught in the past with regrets or worried about the future with anxiety. Mindfulness breaks this pattern by focusing our attention in the present, therefore enabling us to experience life more peacefully and clearly. A basic habit for developing mindfulness is breath awareness, Anapanasati. We teach our thoughts to become more present by concentrating on the basic act of breathing, that sensation of each inhale and exhale. When negative ideas start to surface, we can gently refocus on the breath to stop them from growing and controlling us. Learning to observe ideas without attachment is another really effective feature of mindfulness. The Buddha famously said of the mind, "A vast sky and ideas to passing clouds." Thoughts emerge and pass over our brains, much as clouds float across the heavens without changing their core. Learning to see them come and go without identifying with emotions "I am angry" becomes "anger is arising," helps us to release their immediate impact. This generates an essential psychological distance that lets us decide how we react instead of having our ideas control us. Thus, developing awareness is not only a method but also a basic change in our perspective on our own minds. It is the foundation upon which all other techniques of negating bad ideas are based. Section 3. Methodical approaches for managing negative thoughts. Once we have started to develop awareness, we may then use particular strategies to directly target and manage unpleasant ideas. Often offered as a slow process, Buddhist teachings provide a spectrum of useful techniques. Let's investigate a few of these important phases. First step, changing your thought pattern to produce wholesome ideas. Buddhist wisdom holds that deliberately focusing your attention on something nice and healthy will help you first combat negative ideas. Whether your mind is locked in a negative loop, that of anger, worry, or resentment, the first action is to deliberately shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. These are the ideas that naturally inspire happiness and peace. Among the suggested examples are thinking of something you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Remembering such good events can help one to enter a more peaceful state of mind right away. The secret is to be always ready to switch to some wholesome ideas in your mind which makes you peaceful when negativity strikes. Second step, examining the drawbacks of negative thought. Simply changing your concentration won't completely eliminate the bad ideas. So, the next action is to use your reason and consider the harmful effects of fixating on these emotions. According one source, if you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think these thoughts are hurting me and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. We can develop a stronger will to let the negative ideas go by deliberately considering their effects on our mental and bodily well-being, relationships, and unskillful behavior. Often, we are not completely aware of the negative effects of our negative thinking habits, hence consciously considering these drawbacks can be quite effective. Third step, ignoring or paying no attention to negative ideas. The next line of action is to just not give them your attention if the negative ideas linger even after trying to refocus and weigh their disadvantages. The idea here is that our attention usually helps things to get stronger. Whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows more, the source said. Imagine a small annoyance that gets turned into full-fledged wrath when you keep going over the incident in your head. One should let the thought be a thought without paying much attention. Here, the comparison of a newborn falling down is used. If the parent doesn't show much concern, the infant is probably going to cease wailing. Likewise, a bad thought will finally lose its strength and fade away if we ignore it, avoid analyzing it too much, and ignore emotional reactions to it. The fourth step, letting your thought process relax under positive emotions. When negative ideas rule, our minds can get restless, tense, and unfocused. The fourth phase is deliberately fostering good emotions to help one to gently relax this mental state. The source advises emphasizing our ideas of loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. These good feelings calm the mind and help to offset negative tension. We can gently change our mental terrain and open room for more peaceful ideas by deliberately focusing on emotions of compassion, empathy, and gratitude. The fifth step, crushing ideas with awareness, advanced practice. The last step mentioned is a more difficult approach needing great awareness and mental discipline. Crush your thought with awareness. This entails a direct, determined attempt to be totally aware of a negative idea and firmly decide not to interact with it anymore, therefore stopping it in its tracks. It is important to keep in mind, although the advise, this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing, this mind will grow more and more negative thoughts. Once one has developed a strong basis of awareness and performed the previous phases, this approach is most suited. Sometimes pushing the mind too forcefully results in resistance and a sharpening of negative emotions. Beyond this 5-step slow learning program, another source stresses the need of challenging your ideas, especially the what-if situations aggravating anxiety. This means first realizing you are catastrophizing by use of mindfulness. Then you wonder, is this the reality? Or is this just another distortion of my mind about the reality of the life? Many times our thoughts conjure complex negative images with no foundation in reality. We can start to destroy the influence of these ideas by challenging their validity and firmly basing ourselves on the present reality. Moreover, you have to know what is under your control and what is not. For the things you can change, act accordingly. Excessive worry is useless for the things beyond of your reach. A major component of Buddhist wisdom, accepting the boundaries of your influence will help you to greatly ease mental suffering. Another useful tactic advised is allocate a designated time to worry. Negative ideas that surface outside of this scheduled period can be psychologically put off, told to yourself you will deal with later. When your worry time comes, instead of just moping about, use the opportunity to deliberately examine your worries and evaluate their veracity. This can help to confine negative ideas and stop them from seeping into other spheres of your life. Section 4. Growing good thinking as the basis for mental health. Although learning to manage negative thoughts is very important, Buddhist teachings also stress strongly the active development of happy mental states. This is about growing a mentality that naturally leans toward happiness, compassion, and knowledge, rather than about stifling negativity with forced positive. Positive Buddhism's basis is the knowledge that our ideas are the seeds of our experience. The karma principle emphasizes how our future experiences are shaped by our intentions and behavior derived from our thinking. We are basically laying seeds for a more happy and meaningful existence by deliberately fostering good ideas. Emphasizing the need of right thought as part of the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha himself, right thought, is pointing our attention toward wisdom, selflessness, and compassion. When we deliberately decide to concentrate on these attributes, we start to change our usual mental patterns from self-centeredness and negativity. Adopting a wider view and realizing our interdependence with other people naturally helps us to see things more favorably. Considered potent antidotes to negativity and fundamental techniques for fostering a positive outlook are loving kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna. Metta is the practice of deliberately fostering in oneself and all other beings warmth, goodwill, and unqualified love. It directly runs opposed to emotions of ill will, resentment, and rage. Beginning with oneself, then loved ones, neutral people, problematic individuals, and lastingly all beings. The practice of metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation, methodically directs these feelings of loving kindness towards several kinds of beings. Regular metta meditation practice has been demonstrated to boost general well-being, lower stress, and generate happy feelings. Compassion, karuna, is the honest want to reduce suffering in others and oneself, combined with the empathic understanding of that suffering. It's a deep awareness of their suffering and a drive to help, not only a pity for someone. Growing compassion promotes connectivity and helps to remove the divisions of isolation. Crucially, compassion also reaches into ourselves in the form of self-compassion, in which case we treat ourselves with the same compassion and understanding we would show to a friend in need. Resilience and a good attitude depend on self-compassion. This is particularly important when we come across our own flaws and faults. At last, another transforming feature of developing good thinking is the rejoicing in others' happiness. mudita. When others are happy or successful, mudita exhorts us to really rejoice their good fortune rather than feeling jealous or competitive. This approach promotes an abundance and connectivity while helping to remove sensations of shortage. By means of deliberate cultivation of mudita, we not only help to create a more pleasant social setting, but also foster happiness inside ourselves. Section 5. Skillful engagement transforms negative thoughts and emotions. Buddhist teachings acknowledge that the human experience is inevitably accompanied with unpleasant ideas and feelings. The aim is to learn how to gently interact with them and transform them, not to stifle or deny them. Transformation's first secret is recognition and acceptance. We can learn to just accept a negative idea or experience with conscious awareness, rather than reacting instantly with aversion or judgment. While realizing a thought of anger has arisen is distinct from connecting with it as I am angry. This opens a field for knowledge and observation. Mindful observation, vipassana, is a potent habit for turning negativity around. When a negative feeling strikes, we can deliberately sit with it, thoroughly examine it, and probe its nature rather than let it overwhelm us. We might question ourselves. Where in my body do I feel this? Under what ideas is this feeling driven? Is this a lasting feeling? Through this process of thorough investigation, we often find that emotions develop, peak, and finally fade. They are not as substantial or overwhelming as they first seem. Transforming negativity also depends much on the non-attachment principle. Many of our pain results from our attachment to ideas and feelings as though they were fixed, permanent features of who we are. According to Buddhist perspective of impermanence, anicca, everything, including our mental states, is always changing. We separate ourselves from bad ideas and feelings by releasing our grip on them and realizing their fleeting character. Powerful opposites to negativity can also come from gratitude. Consciously changing our attention to things we are grateful for helps us to break out from a negative loop and foster a more positive viewpoint. Making a daily list of things you value can help your brain to be gradually rewired to see the blessings in your life. At last, a Tibetan Buddhist practice of giving and taking. The Tonglen meditation provides a deep technique for turning negativity around. In this exercise, we see ourselves breathing in the sorrow and negativity of others and releasing healing, positive energy. Though apparently contradictory, this exercise helps us to become compassionate and lessens our own self-centeredness, therefore releasing the hold of our own bad feelings. Section 6. Accepting impermanence as a road to positivity and inner calm. The Buddhist notion of impermanence, anicca, that everything in life is always changing, is among the most basic and transforming lessons available. Although our minds yearn for consistency and permanence, adhering to this illusion results in misery when things surely change. On the other hand, a more optimistic attitude and long-lasting inner calm depend on embracing impermanence. When we oppose change, that instance, the end of a relationship, the loss of a job, or the normal emotional fluctuations, we generate inner conflict and pain. Faced with their inevitable change, we grow attached to the way things are. But when we realize everything is always changing, we learn to go with the changes instead of fighting against them. As one source brilliantly shows, no season lasts forever. No flower stays in bloom indefinitely. The same is true for our emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. Knowing impermanence helps us to stop over-identifying with transient states, both positive and negative. Should we be depressed or struggling, we should keep in mind that these too are fleeting and will finally pass. This viewpoint allows us to negotiate the inevitable ups and downs of life with more resilience and balance. Moreover, knowledge of impermanence motivates us to cherish the present. Every experience, every relationship becomes valuable since nothing lasts permanently. We learn to completely enjoy what is here and now, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, the basic act of breathing, instead of always chasing some future delight or moping over the past. Naturally, this present moment awareness promotes happiness and thanksgiving. Reflection on change is a potent exercise for absorbing the truth of impermanence. Every day, we should deliberately remind ourselves that both happiness and grief are transient. Thinking about the ephemeral character of life helps us to develop more acceptance and a respect of every moment that passes. Accepting impermanence releases us from the anxiety of loss and lets us live with a smaller and more cheerful heart rather than cause us hopelessness. It also promotes forgiveness since we realize everyone, including ourselves, is always changing and clinging to previous grudges loses appeal. Section 7, including mindful awareness and positive thinking into everyday life. Though the actual change comes from actively including the ideas of managing negative thoughts and fostering good feelings into our daily life. Understanding the principles is important, but Buddhist teaching stresses that consistent practice is key to enduring change. Set a positive intention each morning to begin your day with intention. Spend some time deliberately focusing your attention on how you wish to approach the day, perhaps with thankfulness, patience, or kindness. Grow awareness of your speech and ideas all through the day. Practice right speech, which calls for honest, polite, productive, timely speech. Also pay attention to the tone and content of your inner dialogue. Gently steer negative self-talk toward more empathetic and motivating words. Regular meditation, even for a few minutes every day, is meditation. To increase your conscious awareness and foster good feelings, practice breath awareness, loving kindness, or thanks meditations. Seek out chances for acts of kindness, dana. Even in little gestures, unselfish giving can make the giver and the receiver very happy and help to create a more pleasant surroundings. Approach mindfulness in daily activities. Bring your whole focus to the current moment, whether you are eating, strolling, or having a discussion. When difficulties strike, stop, inhale, and deliberately choose a competent and positive answer instead of behaving impulsively. At last, never forget the need of self-compassion. Especially when you stumble or feel unpleasant, treat yourself gently and sympathetically. Accept your flaws and treat yourself with the same sensitivity you would show someone you love. Little but continuous efforts to include mindfulness and positive thinking into your daily life will help you to progressively develop a more resilient, tranquil, and happy mind. Finally, although the road towards a happy mind and the management of negative ideas is lifetime, Buddhism provides a clear and efficient road forward. Recall the basic fact: your reality is shaped by your imagination. You have the ability to change your inner environment by raising awareness, knowing the nature of negative ideas, using deft tactics to reroute them, aggressively promoting happy emotions, accepting impermanence, and including these ideas into your daily life. Start with little steps, treat yourself patiently, and acknowledge your development all along. You carry the possibility for inner serenity and pleasure. I appreciate you coming today to investigate Buddhist knowledge for mental mastery. Of these lessons, which most spoke to you? Comments underneath let you share your ideas and experiences. If you found this video to be interesting, kindly like and subscribe for more mindfulness, meditation, and applying ancient wisdom to current living material. Recall that you own the ability to modify your perspective, so altering your reality. See you in the forthcoming video.